nonprofit organizations. What is it? A nonprofit is really just a corporation, but they're asking the federal government to not pay taxes on their profits. They're asking the government, they say, we want to have any profits that we make for our entity, we want to take those profits and we want to put them back into our business, back into our corporation, so that it can serve a public benefit, a public good. So it's something you need to ask the government to avoid this taxation. The purpose of a nonprofit should be to serve a purpose other than profit, right? So the business knows, or the organization knows, that all the money is going to go back into the business. It's never going to be distributed as profit to owners. So that should be the reason why. The main purpose is to serve a purpose other than making a profit. And in order to get the nonprofit certification from the government, it would have to serve a public benefit. So there's no owners of a nonprofit. So individuals can't own. They would actually be owned by a board of trustees. And so one thing that I always suggest students that are interested in starting a nonprofit is to ask the question, if you got voted out by the trustees, would you still be okay with that? So remember, you might have to have 5 trustees, for example, in one state, and you would be one of 5 voting members, and they could vote you in, and possibly in as a, to receive a salary from the nonprofit, but they could also vote you out as well. So that's something that you want to consider, is that when you form a nonprofit, it would be something, an entity that you might not have control over anymore. Generally, there's no liability for the trustees, but oftentimes board members want to get insurance to make sure that they're covered, because there is some liability when you are a board member of a nonprofit. So personal assets can be transferred to the company as a donation. You can donate to your own nonprofit, and then guess what? Those profits are never, that money may never be coming back to you. So that's something that you want to be taken into consideration, is how it's funded and started. So there's no profit distribution. Any profits that the entity has are reinvested. They have to file for tax exempt federal, and for federal income tax reporting, they generally must file the Form 990. The paperwork is complex. So the advantages are they get the tax exemption, there's a public benefit. Nonprofits can ask for grants and donations, and people or entities that give them money can get a donation from their funds. It is a formal structure rather than just doing a public good on your own. It gives it the ability to be more formal. The disadvantages are it does cost something. It's expensive to start and maintain. There is a shared control, and you may not be able to sell it or make a profit on it. There is public scrutiny as well. When you ask the federal government to give you a waiver on paying taxes, then you're beholden to the government and to the community that you're actually controlling it. So that's something that there is public scrutiny, and they have the ability to look into the financial operations of a nonprofit. So typically to establish, and it can vary by state, is you would appoint a board of directors, a group of people that would run the nonprofit, choose the business name, incorporate as a regular corporation, and then you would apply for the federal and state tax exemptions, create your corporate bylaws, hold a board of director meeting, and then obtain all the licenses and permits. Again, this may vary by the state. Next up is public benefit.